Hey, quick question for you. What do you do after you've taken down killer robots, saved the future, and basically become a Hollywood legend? You walk away. And not just from the cameras, but from the chaos too. You leave the spotlight behind, and step right into grandma life. Sounds crazy, right? One of the toughest action stars of all time is now spending her days reading bedtime stories and baking cookies. And honestly, she looks more at peace than ever. But let me ask you something, have you ever felt like you were running full speed through life, chasing success or goals, and suddenly thought, wait, why am I even doing all this? If you've ever felt like that, you're not the only one. Today, we're talking about someone who actually did something about it. She stopped. She stepped back. And she chose something completely different. We're talking about Linda Hamilton, yes, the one and only Sarah Connor from the Terminator. And what she just shared on the red carpet. It might change the way you think about life, purpose, and what really matters. So here's what happened. Linda Hamilton, our fearless, gun-toting, sunglasses-wearing warrior queen from the Terminator, recently made a surprise appearance on the red carpet. She's 68 now. And let me tell you, she looked amazing. Classy, graceful, and completely at ease. But that's not why everyone was talking about her. It's what she said. When a reporter asked her if she's working on any new film projects, she smiled and said, "I'm working on being the best grandma I can be. That's it. No new movie. No big Hollywood comeback. Just grandma life." And she said it with a kind of peace and joy you don't often see in the entertainment world. It wasn't some PR line. It felt real. Here's what makes that moment even more powerful. Linda didn't walk away because her career was dying. She didn't disappear because people stopped calling her. She left on her own terms. And that takes courage. See, for years Linda has been open about her struggles with fame. The pressure. The expectations. The isolation. Sure, on screen she was the toughest person in the room. But off screen? She was craving something else, something real. In one interview, she said, "I spent decades being someone else. Now I want to know who I really am." And wow, isn't that something we can all relate to? How many of us have been doing what we think we're supposed to do, following the path, keeping up the pace, but inside, feeling like something's missing? Linda felt that too. And instead of ignoring it, she listened. She stepped back. Reconnected with herself. And chose a life that feels more honest. More grounded. More joyful. These days, Linda is fully in grandma mode. She helps raise her grandkids. Goes to school plays. Probably sings along to cartoons and picks up toys off the floor. No cameras. No costumes. Just cozy sweaters and unconditional love. And she says it's the most fulfilling role she's ever had. Think about that for a second. This woman battled killer robots, saved the world, more than once, and became a pop culture icon. But the thing that brings her the most joy? It's helping with homework. Tucking in little ones. Just showing up, every day, as grandma. Honestly, that hits different. What makes this even more meaningful is that she didn't have to do it. She wasn't pushed out. She wasn't out of work. She just realized that success isn't always about going bigger. Sometimes it's about going deeper. And here's the wild part, science backs this up. There's this psychologist, Dr. Laura Carstensen. She studies aging and happiness. And she says that people who embrace meaningful roles, like caregiving or spending time with family, often report feeling more satisfied than those still chasing external success. Pretty amazing, right? Linda's story isn't just about Hollywood. It's about clarity. Confidence. Knowing when it's time to shift your energy. And maybe even asking yourself, what would happen if I stopped running and just paused? So what can we take away from her story? First, slow down when you need to. Busy doesn't always mean better. Second, don't be afraid to reconnect with what really matters to you. Your people. Your peace. Your purpose. And third, maybe success isn't about applause, awards, or attention. Maybe it's about peace of mind. Maybe it's about having dinner with people you love and not checking your phone the whole time. Now let me ask you something. What are you chasing right now? And is it actually making you happy? Linda Hamilton didn't retire. She just chose a different role. A quieter one. But maybe the most important one of her life. And the best part? She's glowing. She looks more herself than ever. So here's a little challenge for you. What's one thing in your life that you let go of, and it actually made things better? Could be something big. Could be something small. Maybe you finally said no to that extra project at work, the one that always eats into your weekends and leaves you running on fumes by Monday morning. Or maybe, you just took a deep breath. For the first time in a while. Maybe you stopped trying to be everything for everyone. Maybe you stopped faking the smile when inside, you were barely holding it together. Maybe you sat with yourself in silence. No distractions. No to-do lists. Just you. And that tiny voice inside that had been whispering, please slow down. And maybe, just maybe, that little moment, of clarity, of truth, of letting go, changed something. We don't always realize how powerful small choices can be. Letting go of something toxic. Saying no to things that drain you. Choosing peace, even when the world says, keep going. Do more. That's courage too. It doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to sell your house and move to the mountains. You don't need to quit your job and start a farm. Sometimes it's simply choosing yourself, for once. Maybe you turned off your phone one evening and didn't check your email until the next day. Maybe you canceled plans because your body just needed rest, not more socializing. Maybe you unfollowed someone who always made you feel small. Or started journaling before bed, just to let the noise out. Whatever it was, it mattered. Because those little moments, they add up. They build a life. A real one. And that's exactly what Linda Hamilton reminded us of. That life doesn't have to be loud to be meaningful. It doesn't have to be public to be powerful. Sometimes, the most important stories are happening far away from the cameras. Like a grandmother holding her grandchild's hand. Or sitting on the floor, surrounded by toys and crayon drawings. Or cooking breakfast and watching little feet swing under the kitchen table. No red carpet. No applause. But so much love. So if this story made you pause, even for a second. If it nudged something in your heart or brought back a memory you hadn't thought about in a while, stick with that feeling. Let it grow. And if you're in a season where you're questioning things, wondering what really matters, wondering if it's okay to slow down, to rest, to choose a different path. This is your reminder. Yes. It is. You don't need permission to choose peace. You don't need approval to choose family. You don't need a reason to choose you. And just in case you need more inspiration, I'd love for you to check out another video on this channel, the one about Dolly Parton. She made the impossible decision to step away from music after losing the love of her life, Carl Dean. The man who had quietly been her anchor, her home, for over 60 years. Dolly, one of the biggest names in the world, paused her career, not because she had to, but because her heart needed time. It's another powerful reminder that even icons have limits. Even legends need space to grieve, to reflect, to heal. And if they can give themselves that grace, why can't we? So, if Linda's story moved you, if Dolly's journey touched you, then here's what you can do next. First, I'd love to hear from you. Really? Tell me in the comments, what's something you let go of, and how did it change your life? Maybe it was a toxic job. Maybe it was a habit that wasn't serving you. Maybe it was guilt, fear, or just an old belief that no longer fit the person you're becoming. Big or small, I promise, your story matters. And it might just inspire someone else reading the comments to take that first brave step. So don't hold back. Share your moment. Let's build a space where honesty feels safe, and letting go feels like strength, not failure. Now, if this video made you smile, or made you tear up a little, or maybe just made you feel less alone in whatever season you're in, go ahead and give it a like. It helps more than you know. If there's someone in your life who needs to hear this message, someone burning out, or feeling stuck, or forgetting that it's okay to choose a different path, send this video their way. And if you're new here, or just haven't hit that subscribe button yet, now might be the perfect time. Because around here, we're not just talking about celebrities. We're not just chasing headlines or gossip. We're not about shock value or viral clips that disappear the next day. We're talking about life. Real life. The kind that doesn't always fit into neat little boxes. The kind that's full of messy moments and beautiful surprises. The kind where you don't always know what's coming next, but somehow, you keep going anyway. We're talking about the kind of life that looks nothing like the movies, but means everything when you live it. You know what I mean, right? It's the quiet mornings when the house is still and you finally get a moment to breathe. It's the late-night conversations with someone who just gets you. It's the hug you didn't know you needed. The tear you didn't expect to cry. The laughter that breaks through in the middle of a bad day and reminds you, you're still alive. That's the kind of life we talk about here. Not the polished, filtered, perfect version. But the raw, honest, unfiltered truth. The kind with tough choices, imperfect people, and unexpected peace. And sure, sometimes that shows up in stories about famous faces, like Linda Hamilton or Dolly Parton. But it's never really about fame, is it? It's about what their stories reflect back to us. It's about seeing ourselves in someone else's turning point. It's about realizing that even the most iconic, legendary people, are just people. People who struggle. People who love deeply. People who lose. Who grieve. Who get tired. Who change. And in that reflection, we often find clarity. We remember that it's okay to slow down. It's okay to say no. It's okay to want something softer. Quieter. More real. We remember that we're allowed to grow out of old versions of ourselves. And isn't that what life is really about? Learning. Letting go. Leaning in. Trying again. See, the stories we share here, they're not just meant to entertain. They're meant to remind you of who you are. Of what matters. Of how strong and tender your heart really is. They're meant to meet you right where you are, whether you're having the best day of your life, or barely holding it together. Because let's be honest, we all have those days. The days where the to-do list feels like it's strangling you. The days where your chest is heavy but you don't know why. The days where you question everything, your path, your purpose, your place in the world. And then, something tiny cuts through the noise. A kind word. A beautiful song. A story like this. And suddenly, you remember, you're human. You're doing the best you can. And that's enough. That's the power of real storytelling. That's why this space exists. We tell stories that make you feel something. Not just for the sake of emotion, but to reconnect you with yourself. To help you see your life, yes, your life, as something worth paying attention to. Something worth honoring. We tell stories that remind you of what's important. Like presence. Like honesty. Like relationships. Like stillness in a loud world. Because let's be honest, our culture doesn't always make room for that. We're told to go faster, do more, be more. Climb higher. Shine brighter. Never stop. But around here? We believe in the power of stopping. Of resting. Of reflecting. Of choosing meaning over momentum. We tell stories that pull you out of the noise and back into your heart. Because when you're always running, always scrolling, always chasing, your heart gets drowned out. It starts whispering instead of speaking. And over time, we forget how to hear it. But when you slow down, even just for a few minutes, you start to hear it again. That quiet voice that says, "Hey, you're doing okay. You're allowed to change your mind. You don't need to prove anything. You are loved, even when you feel unlovable." And that voice? That's your truest self. So if that sounds like something you want more of, if you're craving content that feeds your soul instead of just filling your screen, then you're in the right place. You found your corner of the internet. One where depth matters more than drama. Where compassion wins over comparison. Where truth beats trends. This is a space for real people. Living real lives. Having real conversations. And you're part of that now. Thank you for being here. Truly. Thank you for spending your precious time, minutes you'll never get back, right here, with me. It means more than you know. Thank you for watching. For listening. For opening your heart to stories that matter. You didn't have to. But you did. And that tells me something about you. It tells me you care. You feel things deeply. You're thoughtful. You're human. And you're not alone. Even when the world feels heavy. Even when you're unsure of the next step. Even when it all feels like too much. You are not alone. There's a whole community here, quietly growing, of people just like you. People who want to live with more purpose, more presence, more peace. People who are tired of the noise. Who crave connection. Who value meaning over hype. So if that's you, stay a while. Subscribe. Join the conversation. Share your story. Tell us what's on your heart. You never know who might need to hear it. You never know who you might inspire. And I promise, we're listening. We're creating a space where your voice matters. Where your story counts. Where your truth is safe. So I'll say it again, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, take care of your heart. Take care of your mind. Take care of your soul. Because you deserve that much. You deserve rest. You deserve kindness. You deserve joy. Even on the hard days. Especially on the hard days. So go gentle today. Breathe deep. Love well. And remember, you're not just surviving. You're becoming.